And now in our last couple of minutes here, we are dying to hear your thoughts on A Court of Silver Flames so far, third of the way in.
So I wrote 1/3 because I think we're gonna have to do this one in 3 parts. Like I'll probably get to like here-ish by next week, and then we'll finish it off. So, spoilers!
Yep.
Gonna be literally spoiling everything in this book, and there was a major thing that I just ended off on. So, spoilers, get away if you haven't read A Court of Silver Flames yet. Okay, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Feyre's pregnant. I walked into our bedroom. So I was reading this afternoon for like 45-ish minutes just to like have like a little break in the middle of the day. And I walked into, first of all, I always walk into Michael's room when he's on a meeting. It happens 9 times out of 10. It's the funniest thing. But I walked in again after I interrupted his meeting and I went, "They're pregnant." And he went, "Who?" And I was like, "The people in my book." And he was like, "Okay, great.
Okay.
Fantastic. Making little fairy babies." And I was like, "Yes, they are." And so that was like the thing that they literally just ended up on, and she told Nesta that it's a boy. But this book has been very heavily Nesta Cassian based, as you know. And finally we've gotten a little bit of action. It took a little bit of time. Nesta has been very closed off. Homegirl needs a therapist so bad.
Yeah.
It's not very good. She has a major drinking problem and literally puts herself through pain to try and make her way down these steps at the top of the House of Wind and go drinking, but she never makes it. Not yet, anyway. I have a feeling she's gonna do it at some point. I just don't know when. We're at like stair 1000 that she can make it to right now. That's like where she's at.
Out of 10, for context.
Out of 10,000. Yes. So a lot of flirtatious energy between her and Cassian. And we also found out she's been friends with one of the priestesses in the library, Gwen. And she found out about the Valkyrie. And my thought is that she's trying to get these girls to train with her and Cassian. And I have a feeling that she's going to like bring back the Valkyrie and like make it happen again, because despite her being a little bit of a bitch and really annoying, like I still do like her. I feel her character arc, like it's like here right now, and it's like just sitting up here, and I'm like just waiting for it to dink dink and like start getting better again. But I have a feeling that's kind of the vibe. And we did have a bit of a altercation with her and Cassian. Very minor, nothing crazy yet, but yeah. That was a nice little chapter to get through. And otherwise, not much happens in the beginning of this book.
No.
It's very much a lot of the same stuff over and over again.
Yep.
So.
I'm gonna leave you with that. I'm not gonna say anything because
I understand you don't want to give anything away.
I'm just glad you're enjoying it.
Yes, it is definitely, I slowed down a lot reading this book.
I did too.
Usually like when I was in Wings and Ruin, I was like finished by now. And so, it's definitely on the slower side, but I have a feeling now that we kind of know who the villains are. So like we have Bryolin, who is the queen, who went into the cauldron and became immortal, but she's like super old and wrinkly and bitter. And then we have the other guy, who I forget his name, but he's like the Death Lord, who's like Vasa's guy.
Why do I forget his name?
Starts with a K.
Oh.
It starts with a K. It's like
Killian?
No. Hold on. Let me see if I should find it. They just like sat down and talked about it. Like Asriel, like, kind of.
I always tell the story of when me and you were both talking about ethane. I still don't Ianthe.
Beyonce, yeah.
I pronounced it ethane the whole time, and I was like, "Who are you talking about?" And you were like, and I was like, "No, I don't," because we both pronounced it so different. I had no idea who she
Koshi, Lord Koshi. Koschei. I think it's Keishi or Koshi. But anyway, so he's like Vasa's like person who like cursed her. And then we have Brylan, who's one of the queens. And Eris is like trying to work with them, but also in like kind of like a weird, like blackmailing kind of way. I don't know what's really going on there. But Baron is trying to start this war with these guys, and like it's like a whole fucking thing. So like we know the underlying war and like not the criminals, the villains that are happening, which I feel like we got that pretty early on in the book here, as opposed to like in A Court of Thorns and Roses when we didn't find out about Amarantha till like page 250. So it's like, okay, it's like I know things are coming. I know something is brewing, but we just kind of don't know where it's gonna head yet. And we have a little bit of Cassian and Nesta stuff going on. We got Feyre and Rhys expecting a baby, which I'm gonna assume the baby's gonna be born at some point in this book. And I do have a question though. That's not like, hopefully it's not going to spoil anything. But like, does this book kind of like end the series, or does it leave things open for like more things to happen?
You feel closure, like it could have ended. Like it enough gets closed that you're like, okay, like it could have ended here, but there are a lot of storylines where you're like, I feel like I needed more. And I don't know. I know she's in the process of writing one more. I don't know if that'll be the last one, and I don't know what direction she's going.
Okay.
But if the series did end here, you'd be fine. But I'm glad that there's another one coming, because I'm hoping that a couple of the loose ends that you have get wrapped up in that one.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I was like thinking about it, because I know.
Was that okay?
Yes, it is. It because I didn't know what to kind of expect. Like I was like, should I like be prepared to like kind of like end and not expect anymore? But there is another book coming.
Yes, and I didn't even know there was another book coming until after I finished it. So like, I was okay if the series was done, but I was just like a little disappointed. Like I was like, oh, I would have liked to know more about this than that. And now it makes sense that there's another book coming.
Okay. Yeah. That's all I really wanted to know. I just want to like prepare myself mentally.
Yes.
But
no, you'll be fine.
I also was like very interested in the fact that like this is called like A Court of Silver Flames and not like A Court of blank and blank. And then as I was reading it, like Cassian said something, he was just like, and silver flames erupted in Nesta's eyes. And I was like, huh?
I think I underlined it. I love when I find the title in a book. That's like the best feeling ever.
The joke between Michael and I is like whenever like if we're watching a movie and they like say the title of the movie, I always go roll credits. The movie's over. They said the title of the movie. No more. But that happened here, and like I was like probably like I don't know, like 150 200 pages in when they like said it, and I went and I pointed to it, and Michael goes, oh, so the book's over. And I was like, do you see how big this book is? I was like, look at how much more I got left. And yeah, but I was very excited because I was like, okay, the silver flames is because we're like kind of hinting at Nesta's powers and like that whole situation. Oh, I also just want to say shout out to Elaine for like working through her trauma, and now she's like doing really well, and she's just like, fuck you, Nesta, you can't control me or tell me I can't do something, blah blah blah. And I don't think I realized that Feyre, I think I probably realized in the beginning of the series, but Feyre is the youngest sister. And I kind of thought Elaine was because of just like her overall vibe. But like, yeah, just thought that was very interesting that Elaine is the middle sister.
No, it does. It never feels that way. Elaine does feel like the baby, but it literally, she is in a sense, because like Feyre was always like off on her own, and then it was like Nesta taking care of Elaine. So like Elaine did have that like younger sister vibe, just because they kind of were like,
Yeah.
Feyre's gonna fix everything
Mhm.
or keep us
Mhm.
alive, kind of thing.
Yeah. Before we head out, I do want to I wrote it down on like a post-it note because I wanted to bring it up to you. I saw a possible like conspiracy theory within ACOTAR, and stop me if you've heard it.
I think I
But
have.
the story, like the theory is that Amarantha and Tamlin are mates. Did you hear
And
about this?
yes, and it makes so much sense.
I literally, as I was like, it was these two girls who were talking about it, and they also doing a podcast. Shout out to you guys. I don't know the name of your podcast, but I was very intrigued by what you posted on TikTok. But like basically it was like Tamlin rejected Amarantha's like mate connection, and like she was getting the revenge to try and like get him back and like all this stuff, and then having Reese made him jealous, quote unquote, like if that even worked. And then Tamlin gets the trauma of killing Amarantha, and that's why he was like trying so hard to hold on to Feyre, because he was like trying to force this like mating bond onto Feyre. And I was like, this honestly, I was like, this is canon in my brain. It made so much sense that I was like, there's nothing else.
Yes. No, I am hoping that in the next book, that is one of the storylines, because it really does tie so much together, and it's just nuts.
No, it really is. It really is. And I wonder if like Sarah J. Maas like goes on TikTok and like scrolls through things and she's like, oh, that's good. And then like grabs it and like tries to write it in.
Can you
Which would be very
imagine?
funny.
That
I
would
mean,
be funny.